Hello everyone, welcome to the history optional series. Continuing with the previous class, ancient Indian history. Yesterday we declared about historical sources, historiography sources, etc. etc. Now I am going to discuss about Indian history writing. Indian history writing. Guys, I again requested to everyone, please take notes simultaneously with me so that your notes for the revision will be ready. Also, I will provide notes where it is necessary through video format. If there is a specifically important topic, like you cannot write the notes from here, then I will provide it in the video itself, making a small video from the pages of my notes. Correct, let's continue. If we talk about brief history about Indian history writing, there are some major allegations done by the foreign historians mainly about the history writing of India, basically the sources. If I talk, the foreign allegations about India, about Indian writings are always religious. In some extent, it is true also. We have Vedas, Upanishads as the oldest book, but in the some extent, this argument is not valid because we have the Rastarangini by Kalhana, though it come late, but yes, there are some writings also there which is not really religious. We know if we are going to writing history, then we need an objective source. Objective means it is not biased, so source must be materialistic in nature. So history interested in the materialistic phenomena, right? Materialistic sources, clear? Then if we talk about Indian writings, majorly Indian writing consists of biographies. If I particularly talk about biographies, these biographies have some historical narrative. Historical narrative, which historical narrative? I mean, it mentioned about the kings, it mentioned about their court, about their samantas, about their ministers, about their bureaucracy, about the state of economy of that particular period, though it has a major flaw. What is the flaw of this particular biography? The flaw is all about glamorizing. How? Let me give an example. You are working under a king, and you are writing against the king like the king is a bad person, the king is ruling with iron handed. Then what will be your situation? You can understand. Immediately you are thrown upon the jail, or you are going to be punished very brutally. So the previous biographies and the writers of these biographies always glamorize the kings, like the king is the son of the god, the king has the divine powers, etc. etc. Clear? So these are the problems with these biographies. Then in the 12th century, nearly 12th century AD, nearly this period of time, there is a person called Kalhana. He came up with a historical narrative called Raj Tarangini. You must heard about this book. Let me brief about this book. This book is considered is a proper organized historical writing of India, and that is the first one. So we can consider the history writing of India in a proper source based organized effort will be coming very very late. If it in the first lecture of this ancient history, I talked about Herodotus. When he came and wrote the history, nearly 5th to 6th century BCE, and see the gap of these periods. So it clearly we can see that there is a gap or difference between Indian history writing and other history writings. So basically, what is this Ras Tarangini? We will be going to discuss this Ras Tarangini details in the 12th century AD while I am discussing the early medieval period. But in the brief, Ras Tarangini is the discussing about the flow of kings in the Kashmir region, though sometimes it gives the description about some parts of India nearly majorly the northwestern part, but majorly it focus on the Kashmir. So it is the situation during the ancient and early medieval period of Indian history writing. Next, if we call about going to be the medieval period of Indian history writing, specifically the medieval period, as you know, there is Turkish invasion, Delhi Sultanate, Mughals, etc. etc. These important events were recorded, but when the important events were recorded, these important events were recorded in the court. Court means darbar. So while it recorded in the court, it has the same flaws like biographies. Even some biographies are written in this period, like Babar wrote. I just forget the name of the book, but yes. Then if we talk about the issue in the medieval sources of history, number one, patronized by the specific ruler. Patronization by, please write simultaneously while I am saying those words, also write those as a running note. Patronized by specific rulers. Okay, let me explain the point. There is a Islamic ruler come and ruled all over the India. You know, India is a majorly Hindu and other religious Buddhist and Jain society, and Islam at that point of time is not that much flourished in India. While a Islamic ruler ruling in India, he need to legitimize himself. And how he will legitimize himself? Look at the current situation. You are seeing various leaders portrayed as Superman, 56 ka chhati hai, and other etc etc. He has the compared with Ram etc. Like he has to do some propaganda, and he has to portray himself as the perfect ruler for the subjects. So these things done by some recordings of the some writers, and also some writers narrow understanding of history. Another point, narrow understanding of history. Also, third, and the problem is religious biasness. Okay, you know, at that point of time, Islamic people coming to India, and what is the main objective of this particular Islamic people? That means Islamic is a new religion, it need to expand itself. So this Islam religion must be converted other religion subject to itself. So some propaganda also needed in this regard. So this is another issue with medieval period history writing. Now coming to the modern period, see, so as we know, Indians were quite unaware of their history about the ancient or medieval period, except some folk stories, except some epics, Puranas, etc. Clear? So while the Britishers came, Britishers, as you know, 1757, they in the Battle of Plassey, they already took over the Bengal, and in this period, they had just have the right, took the right over revenue, and the judicial part he left to the Indians. So up to here there is no problem. We will be discussing this part when I am discussing about European penetration to India in the modern India. So don't panic, just understand this context. If you don't know about this anything, I recommended you another time, please read NCRTs again and again and again. Okay, so the judicials left to Indian, but when the war 1764 happens, you know what is 1764 war called? Battle of Buxar, where the Britishers has established complete control over Bengal. Even the law and order, the judicial problem is coming near to the Bengal government, that is the British government at this period of time. But understand the issue here. The Britishers here are the foreigners, right? But if you see, the subjects are complete Indians, and before the Britishers coming to the rule, there are different types of laws applicable to different peoples. Let me give an example. If there is a Brahmin doing such a crime, then he will be forgiven by the king. If a Sudra just doing a small petty crime, she will be punished brutally. So you can completely understand what is the problem. So Britishers cannot understand this particular system. Now, so they started trying to understand Indian society. right? Can you connect this what I ever said before? If you were listening this up to here very carefully, you are going to be very clear about this issue. Okay, just clear. So now why they are trying to understand Indian society? Because they have to control the judicial systems and administrative system of India. So if they have to understand the Indian society, where they would understand the Indian society? The Indians' writings and Indian history. Now here all things started. Mainly the silsila of history writing started here. First, they established some institutions like Asiatic Society. Another institute is a Fort William College. I will be discussing, don't worry. Fine. Mainly the fort, there is a proposal, or there is some, also there is a batch is also going on, that training of the civil services also done here. Training of the civil servants of the British East India Company who are ruling in Bengal. So that what they will, while they are ruling, these bureaucrats, these civil servants, while they are ruling over India, they need to understand India. So they need to study the orientalist study. I will be explaining these points, don't worry. Also understand the Indologist study. Okay, what is orientalist study? It is the study of the East. If I talk about this oriental part, it is particularly referred to Asia. The culture, the history about Asia, this is the orientalist meaning. So you can completely, it means that the study of the East, that to call it orientalist. Indologist means, study of Indian culture, Indian history, etc., etc. But what happened? This proposal is dropped. Why this proposal of the training of the civil service servants in India in the Fort William College, why it is dropped? Because Britishers thought if the civil servants train in the India and they will study about these orientalist subjects and Indologist subjects, they may have a soft corner towards Indians. Maybe instead of working the British interest, they may work for the subjects of Indian interests, that is indigenous people of India, right? Now are you clear about these things? Good. Please, another term, orientalist means west, occidental means west, or orientalist means east, occidental means west. Clear everyone? From here there are many schools of historiography coming in. Like, as you know how the Indian history writing is started, right? I will be discussing some history writing started, the history of the Indian history writing, how it is started, again in the part of orientalist. Don't worry, I know I left some of the portion, like some of the names of historians, some of the institution and why it is developed, such as Asiatic Society. I will be discussing these parts next. Don't worry, be ready. Let us talk about historiography India and how after it is started. There are major school of historiography started. First is Orientalist school. As I already said, study about the East, it's called Orientalist, right? And after the Orientalist, the people of Imperialist came. I will be discussing about their history each by video. I think this video is going to a little long because of these people. Don't worry, I will be explaining each and every term and whatever is important for examination and what we will write. So never doubt over my concepts. Clear? Imperialist. After this imperialist, to counter this, there come nationalist, then Marxist, then subaltern historiography. I will be discussing everyone, don't worry. Okay, let us talk about in today's video all about the Orientalist historiography, because it will take a much time. So I will be dividing this historiography in one video, maybe 2 or 3 video I will cover all the historiography. So let's come to the Orientalist historians, right? Okay, understand this. When the Britishers started studying the Oriental history, some Vedas, some Upanishads, our languages, our cultures, some people get obsessed with Indian society, right? So, beginning of the Orientalist. Now, what is the major job of Orientalist? They compiled various literatures. They compiled various Sanskrit literatures into Indian language. Let me give you, there are some efforts even before these Orientalist people by some Christian missionaries. Before them, if I talk about these what compilations from Sanskrit to English language done by Christian missionaries. Christian missionaries. Let me give a very good example. See, as like as Islam, Christianity also trying to convert many people to their religion. Agreed. So these Christian people, while they want to convert their local into the part of their Christian religion, they have the problems about because they have come from a different society, they came from a different culture. So they need to know the loopholes of our Indian culture so that they can manipulate Indian subjects. Like giving your religion had discriminated you, so please come to our religion. Our religion guarantees egalitarianism. Like this, egalitarianism means equality in a true sense. So these are the works before done by Christian missionaries, but they are mainly religiously guided. Clear this point? So where are we? We are discussing the Orientalist school. What is their main job? Their main job to compile various Sanskrit literature into the English. Sorry, this is English. Clear? Now, there is a very influential Indologist known as Warren Hastings. Also, another, remember those names. These names are we will use in the further lectures. Then William Jones. William Jones is the person. He inspired from the Royal Society and established Asiatic Society of Bengal in 1784. So in 1784, he established the institution called Bengal Asiatic Society. Clear? Now, this Bengal Asiatic Society has a wonderful work to compile Bhagavad Gita, Manusmriti, and Hitopadesh. These literatures and many more etc. लगा देता हूँ. These particular literatures are converted to English. Clear? After them, I will discuss the William Jones, some remarkable works done by the William Jones. See, if a historian gives a theory, there are many criticisms. But if the history concept given by a historian is quite unique, is quite remarkable, then we need to study that. So he gave a remarkable theory about Indo-European languages. Okay, let me clear these Indo-European languages thing. See, Orientalist people believe there is a pool. There is a first is a group. This group are giving what is he give? It is Central Asia, right? Assume this is Central Asia. There is a people there living here and they are saying a particular language. They divided. One come to India. One came to Europe. Now this particular language modified here and this particular language modified here. So these people now talking different languages. But languages of these people, like consider it is the English, Greek, consider it is the Sanskrit. So these people, though the languages are different, there are many similarities present. Like I can give you example also. If I talk about Sanskrit, the father in the Sanskrit called Pitar. In the English it is called father. In the Greek it is called pater. Also it is applied to mother and brother, etc. Bhatar, you know the terms. So this is the theory given by the one of the remarkable theory given by the William Jones. Next important theory he gave about Chandragupta Maurya. See, before this person, the Chandragupta Maurya is remained invisible in Indian history. As the Mudra Rakshas also talk about this, about the Chandragupta Maurya, but understand this term. Mudra Rakshas written after 1900 years of the Chandragupta's reign, and the historicity of Mudra Rakshas always remained doubtful. Clear? So William Jones, what he did, he found his references some of the Greek sources, like he found a name such as Androkotas, Sandrokotas. So these terms is quietly about the he compared the events then and found these terms are referring to the Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, now they argued for same. Okay, finding all of this, he found Indian administration before the British are quite before the British. I'm sorry. So he found Indian administration before the British are quite durable, quite applicable because they are following it 1000 years, and these people are argued for continuing same Indian administration. Clear? Where the issue started? The British captured Bengal and they tried to know the society of the India, or particularly this Bengal part, so that they can apply administration according to that. Now these orientalist people who are studying these particular things, they are arguing doing the same Indian administration should be applied further to the Indians. These are the people's orientalist people. Before discussing the positives and negatives of these orientalist people, let us discuss some of the pie chart type things about those orientalist people. See, while these orientalist mean not only about the literary sources, we can divide these into two types, particularly ancient classical text, those who are studying ancient classical text, and those who are studying archaeology. Clear? If I particularly talk about ancient classical, okay. While we are talking about ancient classical text, there is some person like T. Colebrook, also Max Muller. If we talk about T. Colebrook wrote an essay known as Sacred Writing of Hindus. Can you write it? Sacred Writing of Hindus. Max Muller translated the Sacred Books of East series. Correct? You can write that. He translated the book called Sacred Book of East series. Correct? If I talk about this particular archaeology part, the archaeology part also Max Muller's done some spectacular work here as well. Another important person is Alexander Cunningham. This particularly Cunningham, he worked on many, sorry here there is no space, scattered remains of stupas. Spectacular work he done. Scattered remain of stupas. Clear? So you can do pie chart with a very beautiful diagram, but pardon my diagram because there is less space. Also I have to write on my finger. So you should be clear. Any doubt, wrote it in the comment section. Right? Now coming to the positives and negatives of the Orientalist people. Okay. If I talk about particularly positives, right? Sorry. If I talk about, particularly this positive part, Indian history or society brought in front of the world due to them, right? Indian history or society brought in front of the world. Also, they suggest to continuing Indian culture, Indian legal system to be continued, right? But there are many negatives as well. Due to them, the Aryan migration, Aryan invasion theory also coming up, and the imperialist historians using, next we will discussing this imperialist historian, but these imperialist historians using these theories of orientalism try to prove that Indians are the inferior sources. They don't know about in administration. They are uncivilized. We are the civilized people, so we have the right to rule them. These are the second negative of their study. Also, they consider Aryan as a race. So this conclude our discussion on Orientalist people. Next, we will be discussing about the British imperialist people. Thank you so much.